What is up, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well out there and hope you guys are having a great day. As always, it's your boy, Illegal Mindset, ready to get it on, ready for my, it's my Friday morning, but you guys Thursday evening. We're in the ring here. We're waiting on our good boy, GoodLawgic, but I can stay here and shame him long enough. So we're going to hang out here a bit today. Also, get everybody going on the other social medias. All of them. So you guys can jump out there on Twitter, re-like the post right now, and then we'll also put this out on locals for all the DGens with all their dirty Joe memes. They've already got some good Joe memes over there on locals. What's up, everybody in the chat? Let me say what's up. It's been a while. I got time. Meat Popsicle, good to see you. Orion Galaxy, Danielle, Popcorn Power, Ginger 7681, all the members, appreciate y'all. BLM coming out strong. I'm glad you guys liked the thumbnail. It was a damn good thumbnail, I will say. Like there's thumbnails I like and there's thumbnails I love, and this is one I love. But this is definitely one I love. What's going on? Not sure. Good to see you, Jay Leap got Emu Warrior. Yeah, you know what? You know why I'm probably on time today? I'll tell you why. Because Rumble was acting up. It wouldn't let me start the stream for some reason. Rumble was acting a fool. So I had to boot that one. Usually Rumble is the thing that's keeping me, it'll like keep me a little longer or fuck it up. Oh, there it goes. It's kind of fucked up over here. So I'm going to see if I can kind of add that to the end here. I may be able to actually do that. Let's see. I think I can do it. I think I can do it live, guys, with Rumble. So this may be able to go live on Rumble. Let's add this over here. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. We should be live on Rumble now as well. All right. That's the one thing. They always I love it. I love them for the free speech aspect, but in terms of their like user interface and like the other issues, they still got some work to do. Good to see everybody in the chat. Free the Shaman. Sub bangers. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, last night was when I was trying to set it up. So obviously, last night, my morning, same thing. So yeah, I think that was for both of us. What's going on, my bingers? Speaking of bingers, I hear the Anderson case that my boy Legal Vices has been doing. He explained that to me. We were down here drinking whiskey, having cigars. He was explaining me that case. It seemed ridiculous, and it sounds like it's close to yet another mistrial. Which is hilarious. Also, let me promote this right now. So I told my binger, Nick Ricada, that I would shill his lawsuit Gives and Go. So I'll put that in the live chat. But Nick has always been a homeboy to me. So anytime he's got something going on, I got his back. I don't ask questions. So his Gives and Go is already at almost 10K. So if anybody loves Nick and wants to support him and has the means to, you can give over to his Gives and Go over here for fighting ridiculous lawsuits. So I'll drop that in the chat. Let me check on Joe. Let me see if he's too busy with the Manischewitz. Let me invite this guy. A lot of things to cover today. The DA is definitely a slime ball in that one. In the Anderson case, which is in front of the Rittenhouse judge, Judge Schroeder. So it's hilarious because you see where Binger got it from. Like these corrupt prosecutors, they exist in an office full of corrupt prosecutors. They're all corrupt. All of them. And speaking of corruption, and somebody who has fallen deep down the well in cesspit of corruption. That's my good friend, Joe Neerman. Joe, good to see you back, man.
Yo, what up?
I know you were too busy raiding the Capitol building.
Yeah,
and going through Kamala's panty drawer. So
Yeah, you sent me the link like all of like 11 seconds ago. So
No, I was there before. It was there before.
was it? Did I miss it?
You miss it, bro.
Oh no, I was like, I guess he's gonna send me a link. I don't know.
Yeah, if you just scrolled up a little. But anyways, it's all good, dude. It's all good. How you doing, man?
I am amazing, like really
good.
Really good. Thank God. Yeah, no, never been.
I love having you on because I just know that we're gonna have a good conversation every single time. It's like every single time we're gonna have a good one, and then people are gonna meme the shit out of you. They already got you over here.
What the?
I don't know if you saw my thumbnail, but my editor made you into the QAnon shaman.
I love that. I was like, I don't know how people have gifts like this. This is amazing.
Not me. I pay foreigners to have gifts like that.
It's wise. Yeah. You're a wise person. You're a wise person. Oh my God. That was me as the QAnon shaman. I was like, someone was asking me if I was gonna like come out here with like a little like, drum and just be like
this bang it, it's like, you'd have a police escort, throughout your house,
It's like a Carvel thing.
Get Lady Logic to dress up as a police officer. I mean, it's
get her the little Indian costume, little squaw costume.
Cultural appropriation, Joe. We don't want to get back into the Great Beaver debate. Come on, we know where that goes. We know where that goes.
Nothing good comes of that.
I'm pro Beaver.
Nothing. Yeah, are you? Are you? You don't say. I wouldn't have pegged you that way.
Yeah. There you go.
I worded that one.
These guys, they're so shocked that I started the stream on time today. They're like, "What? What? He started on time?
What happened?
Yeah. Is he okay?" Oh man,
how you been? What's up with you?
I'm doing great. I mean, I've been working on a lot of other stuff. I obviously have I have my new channel I've been doing about moving to Asia. I've been kind of setting that up.
Just got
it to 1K. 1K. I'm gonna have some new videos coming out very, very, very soon that I think are gonna do very well. But we got to 1.29K followers. So
look at me cheering for you with a little shake weight commercial at the same
shake weight.
Time. Do you remember
Joe? If you are doing this, people are gonna clip it, right? The clippers now have a clip of both me and you doing this, right? It's over.
Doing the shake weight.
It's over.
The youngins probably don't remember the shake weight. I'm actually a little surprised that you got the reference.
Oh, they know the shake weight. I mean, we've all seen that South Park episode.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, South Park helped it endure, and SNL did a pretty good job on it. Also, the shake weight.
Yeah. Please help me get Steve the lawyer reacts to metal. Oh, dude, lawyer reacts to metal. Steve Gosney. Just literally just buy a copy of his book. He'll do whatever you want.
Seriously.
Like when he's on, just literally say, Steve,
book, damn it.
Steve, I just bought your book, and he'll be like, I'll do it. No, but listen, actually, I wanted to start with you because I saw your thumbnail. I didn't get to catch your stream, but I definitely wanted to talk to you because I've covered this topic, and I saw you were covering it, and I'm actually glad you covered it because I think it's something that went under the radar. And I think a lot of people just let it blip was the Crumleys, right? And so you cover them.
Yeah.
So I didn't
that last night.
So I don't want to go 2 hours, but I want to get your initial thoughts on it because, when I initially covered this, I was focused on the legal precedent, right? And I think this issue breaks down into two separate issues. One, the specifics of this case and them not liking the Crumleys, and frankly, look at them. I mean, they look like white trash. It's involving a shooting, right? Yeah. So I think those facts
worse than a school shooting, which is
a school shooting, right? Which is the number one no thing in America. Forget about the inner cities and the shootings that happen there every day that kill more people than any school shooting. Those
are white people getting shot.
These are white people getting shot. Yes. And if there's white people getting shot, maybe the odd Asian and Hispanic, we gotta pay attention. Yeah. So let's first remove it from the Crumleys. So let's remove them from the picture. Just in general, like, are you against the principle of parents being charged? Because here's my comment to you is that, because I'm pretty sure, as with most people are against parents being charged with lawyers I've spoken to. But here's the thing: don't we charge parents already with negligence if they're not taking care of their child? They're charged with some sort of neglect, right? So they can be held criminally culpable for their care of the child, for their actions towards their child.
Right.
So, and in fact, even maybe their non-action, if they were to do so, if to fail to do something a reasonable parent would do, that can be criminal, correct? So,
so if you give me 5 minutes, I can go through a pretty good synopsis of what I spent 2 hours covering yesterday.
yeah, go knock it out. I want to do it
because I walked in with the mindset of how the heck are they charging these parents, and there was a 3-panel bench, and first they start with there's 2 different attorneys. Each defendant has their own attorney, although I think they're in the same firm. But the first one seemed far more professional, and you can start with a question as to this should never happen, this should never be allowed, period, end of story. Or you could start from the second prong. Oh, God bless you, you're amazing, thank you. Yeah, I got my Thursday night pizza there. There you go.
Awesome.
Popping on in. Homemade.
Oh, I am so jealous of the pizza right now.
Yeah,
that's great.
So, courtesy of Lady Logic. So so you could start either on that higher thing, which is it should never be, but if you're ever going to do it, this is not a case where you should do it. Or you could start with this doesn't rise to a level, in which case you're almost giving up on the first argument. Well, the first attorney to get up for James Crumbley almost gave away the argument that it should never be, and started with like this is not an appropriate place for it.
Okay.
The second attorney, the one for Jennifer Crumbley, started with it should never ever be. And
which is important because they have separate attorneys, because they're separate individuals. So that's not good when the defense is going in 2 separate directions.
Yeah, someone wants me to increase my mic gain, so I can boost that a little bit for you.
Here, let me see if I can do it on my end too.
No, I lowered mine because I was always too hot, so I was down like 37. I think now I'm probably like booming in some people. All right, well, anyway, so that's one. So those were the different tactics that they took, and the bench was coming after them with really tough questions and focusing in on they knew about the gun. The first thing he did is he ran home to get that gun. James ran home to get that gun 15 and see if it was there 15 minutes after, and never bothered telling anyone in the school about it. And this was clearly the most foreseeable thing in the world. Everyone knew about it. And the attorneys are arguing back pretty effectively, saying that he didn't know about the gun. And that when he's like, and even the school counselor, they had the gun in their possession in a bag, not realizing it, didn't bother going through the bag themselves. The school counselor never sent him home. They said, we'd like him to go home, but they had every opportunity to tell him he must go home. And they didn't, and because nobody thought he was a danger to himself, right? Yes, they thought if anything, he's a danger to himself. Nobody was considering this a danger to the public and his fellow students, and that's why they basically said, you know what, we think that'll be best for him to stay around kids, so that he has a social atmosphere rather than him going home and potentially blowing his, which is a
self-harm. Which is a call on the school's part. And by the way, the school, when it has the child, is acting in loco parentis.
Correct.
So literally, it has the same standing as the parents. That's a very important doctrine.
Correct. And I actually threw that. I mentioned that last night. And the court seemed very pro-state. And to the court, and I say this to the court's credit, even if they end up deciding against what I would decide, in that when the state was up there, they were ripping apart the state and saying we should never allow this and whatever, and trying to distinguish between different cases. And the one case they talked about is a case that they called the head case that wasn't even familiar with. When you hear head case, you don't think you're talking court case, you think you're talking about Ethan Crumbley. But there's a case involving someone I think named Zachariah Head or something like that, who was an adult who assisted a minor, I didn't go through the facts of the case, but basically was a third party, not the actual shooter, but helped facilitate the shooting. And the clear distinction that I drew from this, and that I think everyone should draw, is this: you have to ask yourself, instead of looking backwards, this is the healthiest way from my mind, instead of looking backwards and saying what could they have done differently, you can always say what could they have done differently and kill yourself with regret. Whether you're James and Jennifer Crumbley, even the school counselor could do that and say, wow, if I only sent him home, wow, if I only looked in that bag, so many things, if I only looked at this whole situation differently, perhaps 4 people would be alive who are now dead. And that's a lot of deep shame and regret and guilt that people should carry. And what I urge, if any of them ever see this, which I doubt any of them will, but if the counselor's watching this or the parents are watching this, you cannot give yourself that kind of, you should not try to live with that or feel that it's your fault, because all the time, every day, we make 1,000 decisions and we're trying to do our best based on the information in front of us. And to sort of say, wow, if only I did this, is a terrible way to live. And I don't think it's a fair standard to hold a parent to or a school counselor. I don't think the school should be held liable here either. They were doing their best based on what their training taught them, that this is the most likely way to benefit everyone involved, including Ethan and his fellow students. So that's really what they were looking to do. The difference here from that head case that the court mentioned is that person had knowledge at the time that they put the time everything was happening, that this person has a plan to do harm. And when you have knowledge that a person has a plan to do harm, and I'm not sure if that's the head case or a different case, but when you have knowledge, so I don't want anyone to mistakenly say, no, that's not the head case is about. But if here's the dividing line is, if at the moment something is happening, you have knowledge that someone has a plan to do harm, then you are a facilitator of that plan. Doesn't matter if you're a parent, you're a guardian, you're a next door neighbor, whatever it is. If you know someone's plan and then you enable it, you make it easier for them to enact that plan, you are now a facilitator to that plan. If someone wants to be charged criminally in that setting, fine. I understand that. That makes sense. You're basically endangering the welfare of the public. But if you don't have knowledge of that plan, to start saying that there's a duty, first you have to figure out who is the duty from, who is the duty to. Parents.
Yeah. So who's the duty? Where's the duty from, and where does it to?
You're
saying you have a duty to everybody to protect them from your child.
Why? Why would you have such a duty? You have a duty to your child, so they have a duty to take care of Ethan. And the way they were trying to convert this when they were attacking the defense counsel was they were basically saying, well, he has a duty to, they have a duty to make sure he didn't commit suicide. Why didn't they check the bag to make sure he didn't kill himself with the bag? And they had a duty to him. Okay, let's say that was a duty.
Let's say it is a duty. Let's say it is a duty to prevent him from committing suicide, which, by the way, would be horrible as a precedent. Think about that. Think about charging. Think about, you have a kid who, tragically, for whatever reason, commits suicide. And then the one is the state is going to charge every single kid, the parents of every single kid.
In theory,
every single kid.
That's what Michigan wants.
Essentially. You got to apply it equally. If we're going to do it, it's got to be equal, right? If we're going to hold parents responsible, it's got to be equal. So if we're going to say, okay, it's suicide now, right? Or anything involving a gun. Okay, every suicide death that the kid shoots himself, right? We're going to put the parents on the stand. Every single one. Every single one? No, we're not.
And if Ethan Crumbley, instead of turning that gun on his fellow students, had turned that gun on himself, nobody would have thought to charge the parents. Even though they had a duty to protect him. So if they have a duty to protect him and you wouldn't charge him in that situation, why would you then convert that to say, well, that duty to him, and since they were negligent in that duty, and the result was damage to these, harm or death of these other 4 people, that's a ridiculous way where you're taking a duty that they owe to one person, converting it to someone else, and making it larger than you would have when it applied to the first person. To me, this should be a civil suit. They should, the families of the people who were murdered, they want to go after James and Jennifer Crumbley for damages, whatever, and they can establish a duty and breach of duty, which is going to be hard even in a civil suit. If they can do that and they successfully and they get there, that's fine. That's up to the courts to decide and how the laws are written. But with criminally, this is a landmark case. This has never happened. And one of the things that the bench actually asked the state was, is there a single state in this country which has ever charged a parent for the intervening act, meaning a third party's act of a child committing a crime? Has that ever happened anywhere in the country? And the state was like, well, there was one case in Kentucky, but there was a change in politics. They originally brought charges and the charges were dropped. So no, this never actually has gone to trial ever before anywhere. And if it happens in Michigan, I guarantee you, Michigan has been vying to become the new capital of woke under Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
Since when? That's what always shocked me. Is like, well, since when did Michigan become so woke? I got the union part, but I always imagine that union guys, salt of the earth guys. Shout out to the people out there that are kind of like the hardcore union guys, who really they're socially conservative, but they vote blue for the union. right? Because they care about the union. You know, the union is the most important thing for them. It's putting money on the table. You know, I understood that for years, but then time and time again, it's gone against what a normal, you know, working class person would want, right? The working class interest is being completely trampled on, particularly the working class white employees, you know, being completely demonized. I just, it's hard for me to see that as the continuing base in Michigan. And frankly, being in Michigan, I didn't see much of those people left. Much of those jobs aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
The auto jobs, that's not what's really present in Michigan anymore. It's really depressing, frankly. Every time I go up there. So I don't know how Michigan became so woke. I really have no clue at all. Maybe my Michigan people can tell me.
That governorship election was really a disaster for Michigan, because I think that state, and what they did was they were very clever in that they made it all about pro-life versus pro-choice, and the Republican candidate, what was her name? I don't remember her name off the top of my head. I'm sure the chat will know it in a second, but yeah, she came out as being, you know, no abortion ever for anyone. Dixon. Yeah. She came out as no abortion ever in any situation, you know, incest, rape, nothing, never, ever. And that was something that in the wake of the Dobbs decision,
too extreme for them to accept.
Michigan was not ready for that. They were not ready for that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and we're not, and look, that I think we can definitely have that argument and debate, but I think you're exactly right. You know, if you're a politician trying to win, you know, incrementalism is probably going to be a little bit better than going full bore on that front. I think on that issue.
Yeah. I mean, and you also have to know the timing, you know, in the wake right after Dobbs to come out with that it's not good marketing. You have to understand, you know, you have to understand that it takes time for people to sort of adjust to a post Roe v. Wade world. And the timing of it was terrible for her, because what happens, it's not even that, it might be that the majority of people do feel that way, but you're looking for the people who are actually going to go to the ballot booth. And making that position gave Whitmer an opportunity to say, if you don't reelect me, you are going to lose all rights to abortion, and rally the troops to come out and vote in numbers that they likely never would have if not for that being on the ballot. So, yeah.
No, I get that. I got a little, sorry, Joe, I got a little distracted. These people are sending me solid memes right now in locals, you know. I mean, it's killing me. Also, you know, this one is always great. Oh God. But yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Also, you know, I think somebody mentioned here that the main problem with the right to work, it's broken and skewed by federal law. A union, this is from Bob on Locals, a union is mandated to represent a non-union member. That's what I always had a problem with, is that, you know, that mandatory union membership. Yeah, that to me always seemed problematic.
Yeah.
Because it's not, you know, if it's voluntary, okay, whatever. It's like a voluntary association. We really shouldn't be limiting voluntary associations. I'm all for that. Right, because that's my freedom to join a group. That's fine, right? But if I'm mandated to not only join a group but pay them, it's like how I feel about the bar, right? I feel like we should not have to do anything the bar says. The only thing we should have to do is what the Supreme Court of the state of Florida dictates we do. That's pretty much it. If the Supreme Court of the state of Florida says we do it, okay, we have to do it. Otherwise, fuck you. Like I should not have to care about the bar.
Ask yourself this: why do we have licensing? Like, why is licensing a mandatory requirement? If you want to tell me that the state wants to get sanctioned and give their blessing to some people to do something, and I'm talking about, I'm talking about law, I would argue even medicine. If someone doesn't want to go to a license, it should be very prominent whether you're licensed or not if you're practicing in a certain area. But we have liquor licenses, gun licenses, law licenses, architect licenses, electrician licenses, all these different things. If I want to hire some jerk to come into my house who's, you know, needs a few bucks and they'll work cheaper and have him not be, you know, and have him, you know, rewire my entire house. All right, you know what? Maybe if my house burns down because of it, that's my own stupidity for trusting him. But I should have the freedom to contract that and decide I want you or I don't. I trust you or I don't trust you. And that's something you know, that you can have it as being a bonus that, hey, this person is even licensed, like maybe, you know, show an advanced degree. But I don't understand why it is that only you or I could represent a corporation. You have to be an attorney, an admitted attorney in the state, in that jurisdiction. It's like, it's such fake empty airs. And
it's gatekeeping. Really, it's gatekeeping. They want to protect their little fiefdom, right? They want to protect these things. But the thing is, eventually, you know, people are just going to get wise to it, and the barriers they put up, people are going to get around. I mean, God help them right now, as you know, AI is rolled out, as Chat GPT. I think was it Nate or somebody who just pushed out the video on Chat GPT passing a law school exam.
Oh, how did it do?
It passed. It passed a law school exam. Yeah, no, I see no reason why it couldn't. I mean, people who are fairly brain dead can pass law school exams, can pass. I'm not saying they get it in A or book the class, but can it pass?
Right.
And once it passes, it's just a matter of refinement to get it booking the class.
There's actually
eventually it'll book the class.
Someone shared with me like an hour or two ago. I didn't get a chance to read the article. An article about this website which advertises you don't need a lawyer anymore, you just trust the website, and that they're being sued for malpractice by, like, you know, 1,000 different attorneys and things of that nature. And that's
I would just put it in Kazakhstan and put up the middle finger and say, go fuck yourself, right? I mean, if I was like, seriously, I'd be like, okay, come over here and get it, bitch. Like, because pretty much you wouldn't be able to do anything about it, right? I mean, if you're hosting and web hosting is elsewhere, I mean, they can try to maybe have it blocked, filter or something like that, but it's not really going to work. I think the thing is, when you try to squash stuff like that, squash technology, it's not going to work. I think the thing is, because of bar associations, attorneys have gotten too fucking comfortable. They've gotten way too fucking comfortable with their cushy jobs, in their pyramid scheme, you know, and they're raking in ridiculous amounts of money for, frankly, what should not be ridiculous amounts of money. And I think, by the way, there is going to be a reckoning, and it's not going to be nice. And I think the folks that aren't prepared.
Well, you mean the peasants are going to uprise and take us over? Is that what's going to happen?
Well, I think there's a combination. I mean, because there's too many fucking lawyers right now. I mean, there's these, you know, and look, you can be a great attorney who comes out of a low tier law school, but there's all these for-profit law schools that do not give a shit about what GPA you have. By the way, the LSAT has now been bumped out, so they don't even need that anymore.
There's no LSAT anymore? Really?
They don't have to use the LSAT anymore. They can use the GRE or anything they want. So, and there's no score minimum. They can set the minimum, even if they use the LSAT, they can set the minimum at a 1,300 if they want to, you know, which is pretty much.
Is that the scoring system now? Because when I was taking the LSAT, it went up to, like, I think 180 was the top, was a perfect score.
Sorry, 180. I'm sorry.
You're thinking SATs.
Yeah, it's early in the morning here, so let's say I set it at like a 140. Right?
No, I was thinking maybe I'm a boomer and like this, they changed the whole scoring system.
It's me. I added a 0. That happens.
Okay.
You know, I had to convert centimeters to like millimeters the other day, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" So yeah, and everyone's like, the metric system is better. I'm like, okay, shut up, people.
Shut up, commie.
I'm like, shut up. I was a lawyer for a reason. Yeah, you fucking commies. Yeah. So, no, here's what's gonna happen, Joe. So you've had these whole. I mean, actually, Joe, I haven't asked you this question. I actually don't know this about you. Were you ever in a big law firm, or at least one that had like the pyramid type structure where there's you were never in a senior attorney, middle management, you know?
No. And I went to a pretty big school, and I never did that. I always knew I was going to want to walk off on my own. So I was like, I can't sit here answering to a team of bosses and who are basically, I wanted to actually go off on my own, walking right out of law school. And I was like, I don't know if I would know how to handle a case from start to finish. So I sort of worked for like a couple of smaller places, and they taught me how to write a letter. And this guy was a monster. The lawyer I worked for, I don't mean monster as far as a bad boss. He wasn't. I'm saying as far as being ridiculously scrutinizing on every word I put in a letter. Like, he would scream at me if I used the word where instead of, where instead of that, a situation where, as opposed to a situation that. And he would make me crazy, like literally redlining letters until I learned. But this dude could write a letter that would scare it would scare the bejesus out of Hulk Hogan in his prime. It was, I mean, this guy could write a letter, and he taught me how to do it. And it's something that you don't learn in law school. They'll teach you legal writing, but you're not going to learn how to write a letter that will just break down. Here are all the ways I'm going to slice and dice you and destroy you.
Right.
P.S. You're kind of a loser, and this is how I'm going to slice and dice you.
I taught legal writing in I was like the first year I did well in legal writing, so I taught it the next year as like a TA, because essentially the teacher fucked off and did dick all. And honestly, what you're teaching and learning there is nothing like what the actual practice of law is. It doesn't teach you how to write a memorandum. It doesn't teach you how to write even a good email. Just teach like the basis of a good email. I had to look at other people. I remember this when I was a new attorney. I was looking at other attorneys' emails to see how they talk to clients, right? Like their kind of candor, their speech, like what they said and didn't say, just to get what was the norm, because I never learned that.
Yeah, they don't teach you how to practice as a lawyer in law school. There's nothing that's, I mean, I guess trial advocacy and advanced trial advocacy was helpful as far as teaching me how to conduct myself in a courtroom. That definitely was helpful in that capacity. But there's nothing with respect to writing. I mean, they have legal writing that they teach first years, but that's really structure, and it doesn't teach you anything about how to really write a letter, which is going to be advocating on behalf of your clients, while at the same time not overselling what you're going to do, and so that you're not like threatening something. You're very careful. Every word should be carefully worded. It becomes a second nature after a while.
You're not committing defamation. You're not doing anything pushing the line. You're not doing anything unethical. Right? You're not physically threatening them. It can't be misperceived as that. Right? You're doing a very, very, very specific thing. Yeah, you have to do that.
And you only learn that by practice. You don't learn that in law school.
And by the way, my practice was a little bit more, because I know you were on the debt collection side. I was more on the property side. So the approach was actually almost never hostile. Like the only times it would be hostile is if, frankly, I was dealing with angry like neighbors or angry people who live next door to, let's say we're building a new shopping mall, right? And you got some neighbor who's says the saying, not in my backyard, NIMBY, right? Not in my backyard. We don't want this to happen. I hate y'all. Y'all are horrible people. And eventually you be nice once or twice, but eventually you're like, okay, fuck off. You have no say in this, right? Like you're we've entertained you for a little bit. We've been nice, but go away. Like you have no dog in this fight. So that's the meanest that ever got.
And when you're letter writing in litigation, it can get a lot more hostile, but always with a handful of SAT words rather than calling the person a 4-letter word. You would never use a 4-letter word where a 12-letter word would fit in. So, for example, just like stupid, like the phrase willful and contumacious is like contumacious is not a word I ever used before I became a lawyer, but it's a word that I regularly used in letters after I learned how to and knowing when to like call someone's bluff. There's just a strategy you don't learn at all. I mean, literally you learn nothing, and there's so much a good strategy, understanding how to present a theme. There's so much that you just don't learn in law school. In law school, they teach you this is how patent law works. This is how bankruptcy law works. And they'll take a course and they'll explain to you, certain overriding parts.
But I'm teaching property right now for Bronca, right? And I just find myself as I'm going through, like putting in maybe one or two of the cases, just because it's a familiar way to walk through information. It's kind of an easy way to present basic concepts. But then I immediately flip over to here's how it's really done. Here's how the process actually happens, because that's more important for you to know than the citation.
The citation of some case from 50 years ago. Yeah.
I agree. It's absolutely not great.
Can you give me 30 seconds?
Sure. Well, I give these shout outs here. GG Boatcamp, right? Welcome to BLM. Welcome to the Base Legal Mindset. I'll put myself on solo view. Now you have access to the Discord, the memes, all the good stuff, including, by the way, if you ever want to see great memes, go over to Locals. Great place to see the good memes. Good stuff there on Locals. Good stuff. But yeah. Yeah, actually, we'll do this view. Yeah, there you go. That's the perfect view. But yeah, go over, check out locals, check out the Discord. You have access to that as well. And welcome. IWD says, if you've ever read Starship Troopers, yes, we did as part of the book club. We're reading Fahrenheit 451. That's on my locals. You guys can check that out. We'll be reading that on going through a discussion of Fahrenheit 451 on Sunday, if anyone wants to join. The rebellion against academics was one of the primary reasons for a totally based world government. Adult delinquents and derelict lawyers were terms used. Yes, 100% agree that that academia has fallen. And actually, I want to get into that. But before I do, I want to offend everybody here real quick, as I am wont to do. So Joe, to circle back to Crumbley, I just want to say something. Look, if we hold the Crumbleys responsible, I believe we need to prosecute every single negligent baby mama out there in the world. So let's say you've got your boyfriend over, you know, you're a single mom out there, you got your boyfriend over and he grapes the kid. I think you start holding everybody responsible for those crimes. I think you got to do it equal across the board. If you hold the Crumbleys responsible, every single thing, you got to have, you know, Casey Anthony, that's got to come back up, right? You set new precedent.
The mother of every gangbanger.
Every gangbanger's got to come up. Everyone who's all these kids that are slinging drugs, you know, because that's the thing. They hired kids to sling drugs, charge them all, every single one of them. The whole book all of the South Side of Chicago.
You could seriously convict 80% of the country based on this. And what's going to end up happening is there'll be selective prosecutions. Where it's
sure,
like, we don't like you. And they pointed out, and that's why I credited the bench in passing, but I want to just state again, they were very effective at dissecting the state and saying this is how is this not a slippery slope? How is this, you know, how is this not going to be something that's going to come up? What bright line rule are we able to pass and are we able to put into effect? And no one can even come up with a bright line rule, because they can't figure out what the duty is.
There's nowhere where it would stop. It's just, we just want to do this for school shootings because they're bad optics.
Yeah.
Right. And they're the no thing that we are trying to push right now to get rid of guns. Right.
I mean, the answer he gave was gross negligence, but that's so subjective. That doesn't mean anything. That's not a test.
That's not a bright line. You can make anything into gross negligence if you push it far enough. In fact, they're trying to call a lot of incidents. We've seen that with overcharging, where a lot of things that should be like a simple, maybe involuntary, or something that is regular negligence. They're pushing it into malice and pushing it into gross negligence, which you see that all the time with prosecutors. We see prosecutors overcharge all the time.
That way you can negotiate back down, and everyone says, "Wow, you got all these convictions. You're a great man." Or woman, doesn't matter. I guess if where was it, in Missouri, in St. Louis, where they were charging them for waving a gun?
Yeah, for just waving it.
Brandishing.
Yeah,
a broken gun.
How are things going in New York with the appeal of like Bruin and in the aftermath of that? Has there been anything coming out of New York in terms of changes or updates?
Oh yeah, sure.
After that, sure. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Lots of changes. Now everywhere is not it's like you're allowed to have a gun. You just can't take it on a train or within 100 yards of a church or a school.
Which is probably everywhere.
Or a place of business.
A place of business.
I exaggerated that one. I'm just saying they started just labeling everywhere. Instead of it being just like nowhere in Manhattan, they basically broke down Manhattan into like, all right, nowhere near Central Park, nowhere near. It's just like everywhere else. So it's like they're like, all right, let's see the Supreme Court try to figure out what's wrong with this one. But if we start identifying, you know, so many places that you can't take it on any form of public transportation. So good luck with that. I mean, they basically thumb their nose at the Supreme Court by just breaking it down into categories. And yeah, that's what they did.
And now you're gonna be banned. Yeah, now you're pretty much banned from all of New York, effectively, right? You know, it's like you do that, you're trying to navigate. It's like you're pretty much impossible. It's pretty much impossible to navigate.
Yeah. Good luck being strapped in New York.
Yeah, it just doesn't work out. Doesn't work out very well.
And that was, by the way, another good thing the court did is they said, doesn't it seem like we're just prosecuting gun owners? Isn't that what it seems like that this whole Crumbley case is about?
That's what it's always been about. It's been about.
I stopped it and I said, yes,
let me be very clear. It's about prosecuting white gun owners, right? Because now we're finally getting it out, Joe. The people are finally using the term anti-white racism, anti-white bias, right? That's now actually openly being able to be used. Not, I mean, obviously people on the left aren't using, but the timid people, the milquetoast people, the Fox people, those level, they're starting to drop that because they're starting to be like, okay, we've all acknowledged it exists now, so we can say it, right? We've been acknowledging it for like 10 years, but now we can actually say it because it's past that threshold of everyone's saying it. Obviously we're the villain in the story,
and it becomes because of small creators like you. That's why you guys need to sub up today. 30% of you are not subs. Sub up.
Well, no, I appreciate y'all. We got to 91K. Appreciate y'all helping out here in the chat, pushing us up. Me and Joe, go make sure you guys sub to GoodLawgic as well. We can do this back and forth, every other week, a little here, little there,
little there,
little here, little there. It works out. Yeah, a lot there. I'll say there's a lot there.
They're gonna clip that right next to the shake weight thing, and this is gonna end up looking like some cruise ship.
I mean, you already saw like I said, I think you missed this, Joe, but I'll pull it up for you. I already got hit with the shake weight. I mean, I'm done right now. I'm done. Like, see, I'm just done. That this is what happens. Like, you put one thing up and it's over. Here we go. Ben SC says on locals for $1. As a firearm owner, I blame the parents when the kid gets their hands on the parent's loaded gun, just like a 6-year-old who shot his teacher in VA.
Okay. There's a clear distinction, though. And the distinction is the age of the kid and whether or not they can, because once you have the age of a kid, when you have a little kid, 100%, a parent who's negligent leaves their firearm around for their little kid to find, and that kid ends up hurting someone, not knowing what they're doing. The last person who actually understood what's happening here and the danger that could unveil was the parent. The child is basically little different from a puppy that's just running around and doing something or like trying to be cool, but doesn't really have any sort of intention to harm someone. When you were talking about a young adult, and this is one of the things they brought up also from the bench yesterday, that the state charges him as an adult, charge a kid as an adult. So he said, well, you can't, so the state responded, well, by the time it came to trial, so we were charging him as an adult because, he was, so he said, so what moment did he become an adult? Was it after the first shot, the second shot, the third, at what point did he become an adult that you charged him for acting as an adult? But to answer that question, I think there's a very big difference between someone who has the will and capacity, both the will and capacity to have free will to make a decision of something, and is not exclusively under the guardian's care, that person may take actions that are intentionally contrary to the will of the guardian, the parent or guardian. That now makes it an intervening act. You don't have that even with a 10-year-old, maybe some larger 10-year-olds, some more mature 10-year-olds, but certainly when they're in the single digits, I don't see that. I far better can go along with the idea that, hey, you need to keep those guns.
And once again, but what's the origin and where's the duty? I think the duty is to your child to prevent them from getting in there. I think there's the negligence is the duty towards the child, right? So like you put the child in a dangerous environment effectively by failing to exercise basic firearm safety, right? I can get around that. Right. I just can't get around taking the intent, right, and the mens rea or really just the act, right, even the actus rea, and putting that directly on the parents. So and either one.
Here's how you could take.
By the way, what's up, Ty? Good to see Ty in the
hey, Ty Beard. Here's how, if you want to try and argue from the perspective of the state, so we don't give short shrift and cheerlead, but actually like try to come up with arguments that are philosophically logical. You could try and say this: a parent has a duty to the child for the child's health, well-being, and ability to grow and function in society. Now, if you are going to allow your child willy-nilly to go engage in criminal acts, that now is putting that child in a position where they're probably going to lose their freedom. Even if they survive it, they're losing their freedom. So you could say that there's a duty to the from the parent to the child to stop the child from engaging in criminal acts. If we're approaching this from a philosophical perspective. So their failure to stop the kid from engaging in crimes could, in theory, be something that that they would be liable for. But again, they have to be facilitating. If they have no way of knowing it, and the kid has sufficient aptitude to be able to make decisions on their own and fortitude to do it despite over the best wishes of the parent, which certainly a 15-year-old will qualify as that. There's no way that I can understand saying that this is the parent's fault, unless the parents say, oh yeah, I know you're a crazy kid, I know you're always talking about shooting up the school, by the way, Merry Christmas, here's your new gun. That would make the whole thing very different than, okay, this is a troubled kid. And another thing the court pointed out, it said almost every kid has some issues of some kind. Almost every kid. And are you basically saying that in the Midwest or in rural parts of the country, of the state or the country, that where kids get guns, that every parent should now be liable for that? Because that seems like you're going after Second Amendment rights, and you're basically
specifically you're targeting one political side of the aisle, and that's what they're trying to do.
Right.
They're trying to collateral attack the Second Amendment. They've always been trying to do that, by the way.
Yes.
They're trying to attack it in another way, right? Because they know that they've lost on its face. So the left has realized that they've lost on their face some of these battles. So what they're doing is they're trying to come at them another way, right? They're trying to undercut it through liability for parents, red flag laws, right? These are all things that they're trying to say, okay, we can't do it through a direct attack, so we're going to attack it this way. And we're going to get Republicans on board with some of these things, right? Which is the most devious thing. Is they've gotten many Republicans on board with this. I don't know if the Republicans are either
they're phenomenal
at worst,
marketing.
they're stupid. At worst, they're stupid, but
they're phenomenal at marketing. You know, one of the things I was talking about also a couple of nights ago was the concept of red flag laws, where conceptually you can understand that a red flag law makes sense if you don't think through how it's actually going to be applied and put into practice. No one wants people being shot up in a mall or in a school or just being randomly killed.
Sure, but so, no one wants a random person who barely even knows you to say, yeah, this person shouldn't have any guns, and they show up to your house, they strip you of all your weapons just because they don't like you, right? Just because they're jilted with you. I mean, in many places, it's an ex. You can be a random girl you went on a date with once, right? She's had one interaction with you. She says, this person's mentally unstable because you didn't go out with her. You picked the hotter girl, right? So, you ended up marrying Lady Logic, and then the girl before Lady Logic gets salty, and she sees you. She's like, you're big on YouTube now, and she reports you, and they come and take all your guns because they say, oh, he's a danger to himself.
It's starting to sound like a very personal story, Andrew.
I'm just saying. Well, look, I'm in Korea, so I mean, I got other limitations, but
no, my point is though that you can understand saying, hey, this person is a lunatic, right? Like a real crazy person, who walks around. I'm not talking about someone that people will label.
We're not talking about like us level lunatic. We're talking about like a real lunatic. We're not talking about like a normal, acceptable crazy. We're talking about really crazy.
I'm talking about someone, who's constantly like a real, insane person.
Yes.
You can understand saying, I don't know if that guy should be around loaded weapons. That sounds kind of ridiculous to put something like that in this guy's hand when he might fire it off without even knowing and think that he's like, blowing at like a dandelion or something. Just sort of like, you don't know. There are crazy people. Would you say that you should go into Arkham Insane Asylum and just start handing out weapons to them when you free them? That sounds kind of stupid.
Well, I mean, we're talking about the people that should be locked up are the people on the Arkham Asylum level. I'm with you on that. I'm not with you when you talk about people that are just regular people that you may disagree with or have a fight with, or maybe even they're disagreeable people. Maybe they're assholes. Being an asshole is not a problem. It's not a mental deficiency. And now I know, by the way, that the psychologists out there, once again, all licensed. I'm going to say this right now. All licensed professions in the United States will go woke. If they're not already there, they're going there. You see lawyers, doctors, psychologists.
You saw that Stanford. Teachers. You saw that Stanford situation, I think last week, with
which one?
Judge Duncan went in there, and he had a class of kids in Stanford who were yelling at him that they don't like his decisions, even though he's from Texas. but that he's, you're invading my life. You're silencing
Who is this?
me.
Professor Duncan? Is this the one that was yelling?
No, it's not professor. He's Judge.
Judge Duncan.
Judge Duncan. When it was invited as a guest speaker. Yeah. He was invited as a guest speaker to speak at Stanford. And the class basically went full woke on him and didn't let him speak. They were just interrupting and screaming. So the administrative dean from Stanford, the dean of diversity, equity, and inclusion, she came up there and gave a 9-minute pre-written speech about what a terrible person Duncan is, but we still value your speech. But we have to ask ourselves, is it really worth you coming in here when you're causing all this hurt and pain?
And right now, by the way, they're trying to bury those videos. I noticed the ones they have up. They're trying to take them down. They're trying to shut them down because they know what they're doing, right? This is why they try to hide it. This is why they tried to pull these things down. They try to bury them. But the truth is getting out there, right? The truth is getting out there. People know now that these particularly the highest level universities like the Stanford, Yale, Harvard, they've just become propaganda institutes at this point. Dina, thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Really,
the only way that stops, the only way that can possibly stop, is if their ranking gets dropped for basically saying you don't believe in sophistry anymore. You don't believe in actual legal arguments. You just believe
sophistry. That's a good word. I haven't heard that one in a while.
All you believe in is basically screaming down your adversary, which is not what lawyering is about. And that's what you're promoting in your schools. You're obviously not a number one school, top 5 school in the country. And that Stanford would drop down from number 2 to number 12 by virtue of this situation. Trust me, they'll change overnight. They would change overnight. They would never allow that to happen. Imagine if something like that happened to Stanford. They lost their ranking. So it's really the people who are providing the rankings, which are so critical. The ones who are valuing them as being, the elite of the elite. If instead of being viewed as the elite of the elite, they're viewed as a number 47 school, the number 78 school, because they're basically not teaching people how to practice law, but they're just teaching them how to scream like AOC. In that case, they would stop doing it. They would totally stop doing it tomorrow. Or if they did continue doing it, they would be treated as the joke that they are. But instead, but the thing we're elevating that to saying you're the best, you're number one.
It's a good grift though, Joe. It makes them a shit ton of money. And look, like they've been able to get away with it, charge exorbitant rates, and do it over and over again. And it's the cushiest job ever. You get the one syllabus, the one class, you do it over 5 million times. You really don't do much as a professor. You write books and articles that you grift off of. You go out and you seek out political money as grant money, political organizations that are inherently political to give you money as grant money to say what they want you to say, right? You're pretty much going out and doing studies where you already know the answer to the study. That's our modern.
I'll tell you this: if I was ranking an annual list of top hundreds the top of ranking law schools, if I saw that it had someone in a position of administrative dean of diversity, equity, and inclusion, I would say you don't crack the top 100. Yeah. Because why are you making such a position? Why would you even think such a position is necessary?
It's not at all. A couple chats here. So Ben for on locals for $1 said, like some he's talking about insane people, like some insane maniac who gets liquored up all the time, goes on rants about the government while wearing a papal hat. Yes, Matthew Harris, the prophet. May he remain unbreaded for life. And over here on Rumble, got a Rumble rant from Britt Cormier. Take that off. Republican or Democrat, they're all the same. They're getting paid by the rich to screw the poor. That's what I appreciate. That the reason why I love talking to Joe is Joe actually gets that part. He doesn't get butthurt when I call out the rhinos and when I cover out even the people that are blind in their adherence to the party line. That's not something you do or I do. I think we come pretty fucking hard actually at a lot of folks on the supposed right. I think we don't pull any punches there. I'll say that
because they're not on the right. They're no longer on the right. They're still, if anything, my
bigger thing is they don't represent. Here's my bigger thing. I don't give a shit about right, left, whatever. It's hypocrisy, right? They say they're representing something, but they're not actually representing that thing. They say, oh yeah, we love free speech, but also get it in your fucking house, wear your mask, don't move, and don't say anything against it. We're going to throw you in jail, right? But we love you. We want you to be free. We love everybody, but not you, white people. You know.
It's like Jews.
Wait. Did you vote blue or red? Because if you voted red, we don't like you. You know, you're a Zionist, evil person. But if you voted blue, we love you. Support the ADL. You know.
Is there a right anymore?
Is there a right anymore? I think there is a people who don't like the woke shit. Because honestly, I think one thing I've noticed recently, and you've seen this, and we both have covered this, is we've seen how we don't really like, especially the people that are anti-woke, we don't agree. And I think the problem is that especially people on the right, they want to kind of force everybody into their camp or their particular, you know, let's say you're very trad con, you're very Christian, right? You want everybody to be an evangelical Christian, right? Let's say you're somebody who is very big into the economics, right? You know, or maybe you're a libertarian. Maybe you want laissez-faire economics. You're that guy, right? Or maybe you're an atheist, right? And you want everything to just be a-religious, you know, but also completely free. Like you've got your camp that you're in, right? And for some reason, the woke have pushed us to where we're all agreeing on the issues. But then when we look at each other, we're like, wait, I don't like that guy. And I see that, and I'm seeing that more and more and more and more. People looking across saying, I don't like that guy. And I'm going to say it, and people are going to get mad, but I think a lot of this comes from the stuff like Trump pointing at DeSantis unnecessarily. You know, a lot of that comes from Big Papa T, a lot of the personalities.
Daily Wire versus Crowder.
O'Keefe
versus Project Veritas.
Yeah, which by the way, you know, I'm not assigning blame because some of these people are less to blame than others, right? If you look at each of those individual things, but you see them eating each other. Also, Tim Pool just being a general cuck.
Just being Tim Pool.
Yeah, just being Tim Pool.
The quartering versus Matt Walsh.
The quartering versus a lot of people versus Matt Walsh, because Matt Walsh can get kind of weird sometimes. Matt Walsh versus everybody, I would actually say.
How do you feel about Matt Walsh?
I think he's right about, once again, and I say this all the time, I think there's more issues I would agree with Matt Walsh than disagree with. Even with Tim Pool, by the way. I think if I sat down with Tim Pool and I got him to actually commit to a policy position, right? I think I'd agree more than disagree. The problem is there's a couple that I disagree with, which is I think those stem out of and a lot of these stem out of the issues that we have with men and women in America, with feminism in America, with people uncomfortable to say what changes need to happen in order to get us back on the right track.
All right, so I want to ask you.
They get real uncomfortable.
I want to ask you the question, which was the dividing line between quartering and Matt Walsh. Do you think that there is something wrong with calling Dylan Mulvaney gross?
I have to look up who Dylan Mulvaney is.
That's the dude who spent like whatever, has this running vlog about like 70 days in a dress or whatever. The one who was recently doing the whole just being girls hanging out with whatever.
No, you're allowed to think whatever is. I mean, here's the thing. Why are you forcing people to like something or not like something? That's the whole thing of like, okay, somebody is trans. Do you have a duty to have sex with them, or else you're sexist or a bigot? Right? Like, do you have to smash the tranny in order to prove you're not a bigot?
Well, let's take it from that level. But
that's the level. That's the level it's at, right? Saying I look at that and look, to me that's gross. To you, you might like it. I don't give a shit, right? But to me, it's appalling, right? That was the whole super straight meme. Do you ever see the super straight meme?
No.
Okay, so let me put this. It's a new sexual identity, right?
You have to learn. But I'm going to bring you back to the question.
No. This is very important. This is actually
we're going to do this. We're doing this.
No, we're doing it live.
We're doing this.
Joe goes super straight. Here we go. I'm clipping this shit. All right. So here's the difference, right? So here's straight. So if you're straight, you're willing to have sex with let's say you're a man. You're willing to have sex with a woman and a tranny right over here that passes. So, you know, a man who has now become a woman, they pass, right? That's straight.
No.
This is straight, right?
No.
Right?
No.
So, hold on.
No.
Super straight is my new identity, which is protected under the U.S. Constitution. And that is, I am protected by just identifying and being attracted to women who are natural women, chromosomal women. right? That is super straight. And by the way, super gay and lesbian, there's representation there too. See, gay and lesbian, that means you're willing to go with anybody who just passes, who kind of sort of looks like it. But instead, no, super gay, super lesbian, just natural women with women, just natural men with men. I support this identity.
There is no human on earth who thinks that a trans woman is a woman. Not even trans women. There's not one. There's not one who actually really believes it. They'll say it. It's a lie. It's a lie.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
They don't genuinely believe that they are women. If they were, they wouldn't introduce themselves first and foremost as trans women.
Right. Okay, that's true. They just say woman, right?
Yeah. I don't introduce myself as a man all the time. You know, why would you? You wouldn't feel a need. You wouldn't care about pronouns because if someone referred to me as she, her, I would I don't care. Why do I care? I don't need your validation. If you need the validation from others, you clearly are not that thing. It's the ones who know what they are, who never need validation. I don't need validation that you
just are.
Joe.
You just are.
I'm a lawyer. I don't need validation that I'm Jewish. I'm a Jew. That's it.
Right.
I don't need anyone to tell me if you don't like it, if you don't believe it, if you disagree. I don't care. What do I care? You're an idiot.
Exactly, because you're clear. It's so clear that it's not even worth debating.
Yeah,
there's no debate. Like Joe is a Jew.
You can't deny my. It's like and so if you're a trans person and you say you're denying my existence. If someone is denying your existence, you don't exist. It's that simple. You're not what you're pretending to be, because otherwise they would be thoroughly incapable of denying your existence. Someone could deny gravity. That doesn't mean they're not going to, if they step off a roof of a building, they're not going to fall flat on their face. So I mean, what does that mean to deny their existence? You either are or you're not. But the concept that they constantly need to be validated, or anyone who fails to validate them is in some way transphobic. There should be, you know what? If anyone believed it, they would say you're not transphobic, you're misogynistic because you're being mean to women.
And that's fine because they can call anybody misogynistic nowadays. Everything is misogynistic. So so that I'm used to. I'm like, that one bounces off me like nothing, because it's like misogynistic. I'm like, okay, and like, what does that even mean? The meaning of that is completely lost. And by the way, who makes you the determiner of that, right? Yeah. That's like, a woman or even like another guy.
That's a whole.
Well, it's anybody who says, "Oh, you're not being a real man," or a real man does this. I'm like, okay, so who knighted you and made you the Pope of masculinity or femininity for that standpoint?
Right. You're the Pope of alpha. So
yeah.
But what I'm saying is,
I love it. People, by the way, people on Rumble are like, Joe, I actually agree with you for once. I'm like, oh wow, we got something that people like for once.
Yeah, and you know what? If you didn't, I don't give a damn. I don't care. I don't need your validation.
He really doesn't, though, guys. Robin Sage says here, all I want is to be left the FARC alone. I want a national divorce to be left alone. There's no reconciliation with the radical leftists. I think we've talked about this a lot, but I'll talk about it again. I don't see that happening peacefully, because the problem is they are too dependent on hardworking people. I think the lazy people know that they are being supported, that their welfare state is being supported by hardworking, good, honest Americans. And if the good, honest Americans are walking over there, they're going to want a piece of that. They're not going to allow them to walk out without trying to take way too much. They might say, okay, you can do it, but here's the price, and it's a huge price, right? We're talking like Treaty of Versailles reparations level, right? Mm-hmm. Like we're talking about like you lost a war and you're paying us back for, a century. And I don't think that's acceptable. That's where I think it gets a little bit dicey.
Are we going to talk about that new bill in California?
Which one?
Reparations bill, 5 million for every black person.
Was it? Wait, excuse me. Was it 5 million?
Yeah.
But it doesn't pass, though, has it?
They say it's
processing. You can introduce a bill, Joe. You know this. You
5 million. But I don't want to get there yet, because I definitely want to hold your feet to the fire on this Quartering versus Matt Walsh line.
Okay, sure. No, go ahead, because I like
this is a very tough line.
Was this why Quartering was going pro trans? Because I saw him go like, hey, we need to just focus on the next election cycle and not talk about trans issues, because that's a thing we're going to lose on, as if we can't walk and chew bubble gum at the same time.
Yeah. No, but basically it was like, there's no need to be rude, and calling him gross Even if you don't like him, you shouldn't say that because there's no reason to be rude.
That's your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. You can say something. I think
and
something
that being
is gross.
rude,
That's
that being
your speech.
rude hurts the cause because you alienate people.
So that's free speech. You can say someone's gross, someone's disgusting.
Oh,
I
agree.
I find that disgusting. You say
agree.
it all the time, by the way. You call people disgusting live on air.
Yeah,
as
that's
a sunflower.
Right. No,
right.
Yeah, this dude here is gross. So
yeah, and that's fine. That's your opinion. You're allowed to do that. Yes.
but what I'm saying is, but do you think that it hurts or helps the cause to actually say something like that?
Does it hurt or help the cause
to actually say Dylan to actually call him out verbally as being gross and disgusting? Now, to be fair, to give full context, he wasn't saying that all people who identify who are trans women are gross. He was saying that Dylan Mulvaney is offensive to women because Dylan Mulvaney acts like the most clownish version of a woman imaginable, like going camping in high heels. Which is like, and it's offensive to women, not more than anyone else.
It jumps the shark. It goes beyond into offense, right?
Right.
Like
some people opine that that's what Dylan Mulvaney is. He's basically a cartoon of stupid women. If he wasn't trans,
he's a meme. He's a meme.
If he wasn't trans, right? If he didn't call himself trans, he would be considered the most misogynistic man who ever lived.
If it was James O'Keefe doing that as part of a bit or a sting or something like that, they would 100%. They would 100% bring him up on charges, even for hate crimes.
Yeah, for being so misogynistic, right? But because this dude calls himself trans woman, so now all of a sudden to hate on him is evil, transphobic, and you're some sort of ist.
You remember, Milo, right? Like, because your opinion. Let me just confirm. Your opinion on Milo is that Milo is a grifter, correct? You're in that camp that he is in the worst way. He just goes from thing to thing to thing, trying to get attention, trying to act out. And I believe Dylan Mulvaney was on the G side, right, until he switched to the T side. I believe, correct.
So I don't know. G side or T side is.
Well, you don't know what any of the letters stand for in the LGBTQA plus plus?
Yeah. Okay, fine.
Okay. So, but anyways, the point of the matter is he comes off as a Milo type. He comes off as a new version or permutation, which is
that's a great call. Great call. You never said anything so insightful as that. That's a phenomenal call.
It's my first time. I know.
That is your first time. Now you need to sub up to Legal Mindset because he just said the first insightful thing of his life. Yes, I agree with you. He is 2023's version of Milo Yiannopoulos. That is what he is. That is what he is. And Drew Barrymore can go hugging that and doing whatever she wants.
He's found the way to get attention, right? It's just like, the people will court attention, whether it's through good behavior or bad behavior. Mm-hmm. People who want attention will court it in any way. He is saying, I'm doing a thing knowing it's bad, but I know that this is going to piss people off and get attention from the right and the left. Because the left is going to be like, you go queen, you go strong queen, because they have to. They're required to. And the right is going to be like, this is disgusting and gross, and react to it in that way. Because it's clear.
Yeah. Imagine Dylan Mulvaney writes a book like 6 months from now, basically how I grifted the left. And basically says this was all an act. Like,
and he can do absolutely fantastic on that. Like absolutely fantastic. Goalie for $5 says the Mises Caucus was the first group to de-wokify a major institution. The New Libertarian Party is the last remaining respectable political outlet. Yeah, I have respect for them, but once again, and I say this as a person who would identify most with the libertarians, the true libertarians, the Mises Caucus particularly, there's no way they're going to win. Right. I mean, I think they can do it at a local level, but the problem is the entrenchment, the absolute entrenchment. I think the local level would be the best thing for them to push on, and also to push on influencing the Republican Party in a way to push them more libertarian in their beliefs. I think that's where they're going to get the most value. And I think the Republican Party would be better served by going more libertarian and less tradcon. And I actually think as the generations shift, as kind of the boomers are finally phased out of control, I think there will be a shift in that direction. I think that is something that's sort of a legacy item. which the dinosaurs are keeping around. But I do think it will shift in that direction, because I think most young people who are conservative, if you look at most young people who are on the right, which, like we said, doesn't really exist, they're more libertarian minded. They don't really give a shit about the gay issues in terms of you can do whatever you want to do. Yeah. Right? These are the kind of the positions I see. You can do whatever you want to do. I don't care. Drugs, let's tax it or legalize it or whatever, but we really don't, like in terms of marijuana, right? At least let's start with marijuana, right? Like tax, legalize, we really don't care that much. What are other issues? We're not trying to police video games. We're not trying to police speech, right? Those are things that I think the older conservatives wanted to do. And I think younger conservatives don't care about Mortal Kombat. They don't care. I mean, we're all playing.
Here's another dividing line: prostitution. Prostitution is the dividing line.
Oh yeah, we're willing to legalize it, and we've traveled and see that other countries have this and it works just fine. They don't break down and have horrible things going on. Versus, I think a lot of older, especially social conservatives, would have a problem with that. I have no problem with that. I actually, having been around the world in other countries that have it, I don't think it's a problem. I think, in fact, I think it could actually be a solution, which sounds crazy.
I mean, I sort of look at it like this: in an ideal world, we wouldn't have all these things. Like, you wouldn't have any.
And by the way, it exists in the United States without being legalized. All of these things still exist. People are still finding ways to pay for sex, right, without legally paying for sex. Just to be very clear.
Fair enough. And there's 3 levels, okay? And what I would say is this: if we were in an ideal world, we wouldn't have these things. Wouldn't be an issue at all. Everyone would just be normal and not feel like they have to go down the role of degrading themselves or self-harm or take drugs or other things. That's in an ideal world. In a less ideal world, which we're not here at that stage either, in a less, oh wow, I love it.
That was quick. Quick.
I joined social media to get that. That's why.
This is golden.
For that, for someone to make that. That's why. God bless you. So I can quit now. I can hang it up. I'm done. I'm out of here. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me. Yeah. It was great seeing you. All right. So in an ideal, so we're not at the ideal stage. We're not even at the second level. Second level would be like, okay, you have a mix of some weak and some strong people. And when we're talking about strong people, I'm saying emotionally strong, financially strong, psychologically strong. And then you would have some weaker people who might be damaged in one way or another, or naturally weaker. And the strong would protect the weak. In that environment, where we could trust the strong to actually be altruistic, care about others, and properly take care of the weak. In that case, I would say we should be trying to institute a more moral society where we are going to stop people we're going to stop the weak from taking drugs. We'll stop the weak from engaging in ways that are self-destructive, and perhaps pass laws like that. The problem is we're not at that second level. We're at a level where the people who are strong emotionally, psychologically, and with maturity are also self-interest pigs. And those are the ones who are in charge. So when they pass these laws, and they're basically passing it and looking, and there's cronyism, and there's all sorts of terrible ways that they look out for themselves. So we're at a lower level down here, where the people who are strong are very much self-interested, and they don't give the slightest damn about protecting the weak. And all these laws that they pass are not properly applied. They're intentionally misapplied to punish people they dislike, and to basically become tyrannical and become terribly evil, powerful ways of becoming more powerful, more rich, and more famous, and all the trappings of that, and not having the slightest damn about the weak. And they'll pass these laws under the rubric of, oh, I'm worried about taking care of these people, when really all they care about is winning the next election and making more millions of dollars. Since we're down here, that's where I become much more of a libertarian, where I'm like, I don't want these people who are powerful to be passing any of these laws and saying we're worried about the weak, because I know you're full of garbage. You don't really mean it. Right. You're only doing this because you want more power, more control, and more authority over the weak, and that's why you're passing these laws.
But you have children, right? I mean, when you raise a child, the way they become stronger is by learning for themselves. You doing something and protecting them from an experience
under guidance, though.
Right. Yeah.
You wouldn't send your kid out. You wouldn't send your kid out. Right. You wouldn't send your kid out to some gangbanger neighborhood and say, hey, figure out how to get home. There's no money. Figure out how to get home.
No. But like, for example, when you're playing a sport with them, you know, you let's say you're playing football, right? And you're teaching them how to throw football. You're playing catch, right? You know, sometimes they go out there and when you throw it, they trip, right? And they get hurt and they fall, right? You're there to help them out. You're there, you know, to do it. But they got to go out there and fall and trip to learn how to not trip. To learn how to not fuck up. They got to go out there and do that, right? The same thing with driving a car. Sometimes and I know it's a sensitive topic for Joe, but you got to learn by fucking up. By maybe the kid gets in a minor fender bender or something like that, right? You know, that's how you learn. You're like, okay, you fucked up. What did you do wrong? How did you do it wrong? How are we not going to do this again, right? You know, like you have to go through that process, or else you never learn for yourself.
They have to learn for themselves. So what I'm
saying, by the way,
is
that's a problem universally. I see that even over here. A lot of people, they have one kid, so they overparent the kid and overprotect the kid, and the kid is useless when
it's screwed up. Yeah, really, it becomes Hunter Biden.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they do become Hunter Biden. I mean, over here it's like, especially see with the Chinese, because I'll hate on the Chinese all day. It's called little emperor syndrome. The kid is just a little piece of shit, like absolute, complete piece of shit.
Did you? Speaking of which, did you see that girl who testified in the Anderson case in Wisconsin against her father? Oh yeah,
the one who almost caused the mistrial that you were on. Yeah, that was great.
Yes,
that was great. I don't know what the gun was like, but I was threatened with it. I don't know anything about it, but
I was threatened with it.
You know, it's a traumatic experience.
You're such a liar. I was like, and they're in a custody battle over this little demon spawn. Yeah. Really?
Okay, got a couple here. Joe thinks people who drive their own cars are disgusting. Is it true that Drew gave Mulvaney a BJ after the show? Can neither which are you incent? Yeah,
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Or Drew Hernandez. I don't know what you're talking.
That's Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore.
He was on the Drew Barrymore show, and you could just look up Drew Barrymore. Look up Drew Barrymore in the news. You'll see.
Oh, isn't that the one where she was kneeling? She was kneeling to him.
Yeah. Which is like, this is the first time that feminists are all. Well, I guess feminists not, but I guess this is the first time that the left is all excited about a woman kneeling down to him, kneeling at the feet of a man. But it was.
Yeah, and Snuggle Struggle says California representations is insane, seeing how African nations have mass enslaved their people by 610 to pay back the predatory infrastructure loans to the CCP. Oh yeah, I mean, California, I've said get out like enough that if you're still there, you're just not listening or you're just not tuned into this channel. Like, I'm sorry, like, you guys have been warned, especially as things get worse. California is going to have to enact draconian restrictions and taxes. They're going to have to be saying, hey, even if you've left, we're going back 10 years.
No, or else I might move. I don't know why you're telling people to leave. I might move to California right now. I'll just identify as black.
Yeah, if you identify as black, it's fine.
I hereby identify as black.
You also have to identify as broke, though, Joe, which I think is going to be a problem for you. And here on Rumble, the rants here, Brit says for $5, Joe, it should never be illegal to sell something and give away all day for free. That's what is regarding prostitution, because I mean, people are giving it away for free all day, and they're giving it away for cheap. I mean, OnlyFans has brought the price down, you know, largely on sex material and whatnot to, you know, $3 for, you know, anything you want. It's gotten cheap. So look, what's the problem with just the, you know, making money off of it, making it legal?
I don't think it's reflective of a healthy society. That's why I said
okay. So from a moral standpoint, right? Yeah. So I agree with you. Like, there's a moral standpoint. There's like the things you see in a decline of a society, and like the breakdown of tradition of the breakdown, the war between the genders, and the cheapening of general sense of morality
and self-value,
virtuosity, self-value.
Self-value.
I agree with that. However, if we're gonna do it, if it's already out there, we might as well acknowledge what the fuck's going on. It's like the same thing with pot, right? Let's stop pretending that people aren't smoking it in all 50 states of the union. You know, let's just fucking legalize it and tax it. That's fine. I'm okay with that, especially if it's a sales tax.
What about cocaine? What about all drugs?
I'm okay with cocaine. There might be some that I would say.
Why?
There might be some.
Why? Why would you make if someone wants to swallow bleach, why would you stop them? What about suicide? If someone wants to kill themselves, why are we stopping them? Ask yourself, start with that question.
I have no problem with that. That's true.
Ask yourself, why are we stopping them if they want to kill themselves? It's that the reason is because a moral society the strong look out for the weak, and the person who wants to kill themselves is weak in multitude of ways, emotionally, psychologically, maturity, or whatever it is, that they have some sort of damage, and the strong protect them from themselves. That's what a moral society does. It's the strong looking out for the weak. The problem is that
swallowing bleach swallowing is a good point. Somebody made it in there. Swallowing bleach is not illegal right now. You can swallow bleach all you want, right?
Well, I mean, supposedly it's illegal to commit suicide.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good luck.
Whatever that means.
Fucking corpse, right?
Like, I never understood what that meant. Even as a kid, I was like, I don't know what that means.
How do you do that, right? And I think it's an extension of the homicide rule, right? It's never illegal to kill anybody, including yourself, right?
But forget about laws. Why is it like considered a virtuous thing to save someone from committing suicide? Someone wants to stand on the roof of a building and jump off, and assuming there's no one's going to be underneath them. Why is it considered like this is a virtuous thing to help someone? And it always has been considered that, because in a strong, healthy society, the stronger people, and it doesn't mean physically stronger always. It could mean a lot of other ways. Stronger. No, I'm saying is emotionally.
No. I do apologize. This one got me right here.
Oh. I'm simply saying that in a moral society, the strong look out for the weak, and someone who's looking to commit suicide has been weakened by something. That's why they got to that place. That's why you can make a fair argument for drug laws. That someone who's gets into crack cocaine or something like that, if we make it illegal, we're protecting the weak from themselves, from self-inflicting damage to themselves. Unfortunately,
I would just say one of the lines I would say is perhaps children, right? Perhaps I can see that because, like, once again, they don't have the agency or the ability to. They don't have agency. They're under the parents' control, right? And they don't have the ability to decipher one thing from another. So you'd say, hey, look, okay, stay away from the kids, which I think is good, right? Mm-hmm. But staying away from the kids, okay, legalization, I'm fine with. I will say I am for, like, at least properly marking things and perhaps disclosing what the effects are and what could happen. But that aside, yeah, no, I'm fine with it.
I want to respond to something that I see Fubar Temp wrote. Joe, you're literally making the argument for holding parents accountable. No, what I'm saying is this is what we should do. That doesn't mean that's a legal obligation that if you fail to do that, you're going to jail.
Yeah, Joe's making a moral argument, and I'm making a moral argument. Joe, because he's the moral. He's like, people have called Joe the moral heart of LawTube. I don't know what the fuck that means, because lawyers are pretty corrupt and nasty.
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah. Oh, this is a good one. Mal with a $20 super chat says, "I'm from California and a minority. We have low-income housing, welfare, EBT, and covered call-ins. People who are asking for reparations who never went through slavery are lazy people asking for handouts." Yeah. And they went through the argument, especially I think it was in San Francisco, of how black is black enough. That's the real question, because here's the thing: if you push it down to quarter black, 1/8, 1/6, quarter black, 1/8, 1/6,
and it's like, what if your parents came here like 80 years ago? Are you eligible?
Look, let me say it this way. There's some white octoroons that would be getting a payout, right? They'd be getting some millions of dollars. If you really want to look back in that ancestry.com, right? You're going to make everybody submit their ancestry.com.
The whole concept is so stupid. Right. Yeah, like start having a melanin race here, a melanin test.
Yeah, it's literally a melanin test. You got to pass the melanin test to get in.
Like that's not. How would that possibly withstand 14th Amendment scrutiny? Like, think about that. Like, how could that?
It would not. There's no way. There's no way that would stand up. There's absolutely no way. By the way, I want to say we have good news here. Britt says, finally, Joe and I agree. I get misgendered over email all the time. I do not care. I just laugh and send my response. Yeah. That's literally the best thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Like just literally just laugh and either don't respond to it or take it as a joke and like go with it. Just have fucking fun with it. I mean, that's how it should be. Let me bring up one thing. I think you've talked about a little bit, but like, what do you think is going on right here with the banks? Because I mean, look, you're part of the Rothschild family. You know about this. You're part of that whole You're part of the whole
We're
thing, right?
bringing our resident Jew to talk about the banking situation.
Let's
Right.
talk about banks.
Let me tell you about my meeting with my cousins and why it is that we decided to get rid of silver.
What's going to go on? Like, how poor are us Gentiles going to get real quick? Can you just give us the?
You guys haven't been paying up. It's time to pay the piper.
I know it's true. We're kind of stiffing you.
You got this big, massive debt. We've let it go for a while, but it's time to collect now. So slice off a pound of flesh.
Yeah,
we're good to go.
Yeah, exactly. Here we got this nice bag, this potato bag for you to wear. We're gonna take all your clothes, your house, your home. Go ahead. No, but I mean, look, I've seen a lot of scary shit. I mean, people were talking about how Silicon Valley Bank and all these others were driven by social media. I mean, this is a headline I saw here. The first Twitter-fueled bank run was Silicon Valley Bank. I know a lot of
blame Elon. Blame Elon. Yeah, that's what that headline is. It's all Elon fault.
Oh yeah, trying to blame Elon, trying to blame crypto, trying to blame a lot of the things, saying, hey, these people were heavily invested in this.
Yeah.
Blame kind of Sam Bankman-Fried, the general scapegoat, right?
Yeah.
Everything is Sam Bankman-Fried. And then quietly, something I haven't heard anybody else talking about, but it's secretly they're pushing their CBDC out in the background. I don't know if you've heard about this, but the Fed is doing a July launch for their Fed Now service, which is essentially kind of the first step towards their central bank digital currency. They're denying that it is.
Regulate me harder, baby. Regulate me harder.
Yeah. But this is something they've been trying to do for a long time, is get us into the system where the Fed is directly issuing money to your bank account. And the reason they want to do that is the second they're able to say, Joe, I'm dropping $1,000 directly in your bank account without your permission or anything. We're just dropping that money as the federal government into your bank account. They're able to turn you on and off, right? Mm-hmm. If the Fed is directly giving you your paycheck, right into your bank account, they're able to say, Joe said a naughty word on YouTube. Mm-hmm. His money is turned off today. He can't eat.
Yes. Take care of my health insurance also. Decide whether or not I get to live or die. So this way I have to this up to you.
No, more than that, you're going to go out and you're going to go in for that bagel and they're like, I'm sorry, you're past your climate credits. You have to eat the bugs.
Yeah.
Right?
You're past
your option.
That's going to be a new phrase. You're past your climate credits.
You're past your climate credits. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's true though. I mean, because there's nothing, like, it sounds insane, but there would be nothing stopping them from doing that if they control your bank account.
Let me tell you something. If we get there, that's when I'm gonna stop with the whole peaceful divorce. At that point, I'm gonna be past peace. Everyone wants to know, because I'm always screaming. I'm always screaming peaceful divorce. That one's gonna be a divorce at the end of a gun. That's gonna be a shotgun divorce, and I'll be like, don't make us pull the trigger. Don't make us pull. That's the line right there. Climate credits. We're like that right there. That's the line for me.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, no, this is not. This
when Greta is checking your scores.
Yeah. If Greta Thunberg has any say on how I can live, that's the line.
That will be it.
Children are the two lines right there. I think.
Well, I think they're pushing the children thing as far as they can go for now. They're testing it. What they're doing is they've shifted the Overton window, and they're testing it. They're going to pause, and then they're going to come back to it.
Yeah,
I think they went a little too far, but they're pushing, because here's the thing. They say, look, we got social media, we got the universities, we got the kids. Like, they're like, we got education, we control all the boards of education. We're going to get the kids. Don't worry. Right.
That's why they were smarter than Tudor Dixon was. See, that's what I was saying. Tudor Dixon didn't realize that, hey, Dobbs just passed. Let's dial back, reassure everyone. That's why Lindsey Graham said, hey, let's have a national ban on because he wanted the Trump Republicans.
He was sabotaging. He was sabotaging the party.
Yeah. So because he wants the Rhino estate to stay in power there, and so he figured I'd rather have a whole bunch of Democrats who are going to be dinos and care about their own wealth than having people who actually have ideology in power. So but Tudor Dixon didn't get the memo that you can't push this now. You need to sort of let it saturate so that people are used to this, and then you could start pushing toward that on a state level. I never want that on a federal level.
And I think that's how they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it exactly like that, state by state. Did you see what the Michigan
But I'm saying
Oh
the
my
left is so
God.
much smarter. They're
You
so
gotta
much
find
smarter.
those.
It's like they start pushing grooming. Oh my God, people are starting to react to the fact that we're grooming. Let's dial it back now and pause. But now let that settle in the concept of like, yeah, you know what? Maybe it's not so terrible. Maybe it's healthy to these kids. Maybe you're benefiting these kids, and and that starts to saturate until it's it's considered more acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
And the left is so good at that, and the right stinks at it, really. Honestly,
Yeah, they're
we're still
not
learning.
not good. They're really not good.
No, I mean, I was telling. Do you know this guy? I had on my channel. What's his name? Clint Russell. He's Liberty Lockdown. He was on Viva Fry. He's bounced around a few channels. I don't know how it is. This dude, he's got like 13,000 subs, and he manages to be like debating people who have like 1 million subs. He's got some powerful.
You got to ask him how he works his grift. Maybe
I was trying to get that out of him, but great guy, a lot of fun, and really based. And I was very impressed with him. I spent a couple hours in the other night, and he was the one who was talking to me about the banks and giving me my education on the banks. And he calls himself an anarcho libertarian, and like as in like an anarchist, and he considers himself an anarchist. And I was just like, your marketing sucks here. You can't call yourself that. When you say the word anarchist, people are picturing
there's so much tied in. There's so much tied in with anarchy, and like people say, oh, but I mean traditional OG. It's like Bernie saying democratic socialist, even if he genuinely meant that. Which, by the way, he didn't. He's a fucking communist. But even if you genuinely mean anarchy, like in the classic sense, don't use that word. Right?
He means federalism. That's really what he means.
Yes.
He means let the state and your local municipality decide laws for you, the 90% of the laws for you.
I mean, almost run like a republic, a true republic, where
that's
the
what
state
he means.
and the local government is controlling it, where the polis is the strongest part.
But as soon as you say anarchy, people are picturing they're going to have to learn how to bow and start hunting for their own deer. And
it's Hunger Games.
That's what they're
Hunger Games.
Yeah, that's what they're picturing. That's why I was like, your marketing here stinks. You got to change the label here.
And look, if you can't drive yourself to the grocery store, how are you gonna be able to hunt that deer? Vince Corta says no fro, no dough. And Snuggle Struggle says Democrats tried to censor anyone who'd raise red flags to prevent a bank run, while SVB leaders pulled their funds out prior, which is criminal. Sam Bankman-Fried and leadership at SVP must be prosecuted. Well, Sam is going to be prosecuted. Like that's already Sam is fucked. Like he's the scapegoat. Like there's no doubt about that. But Sam is taking the heat off of Zelensky. He's taking the heat off of Hunter. So he's the guy who takes all of that. On his back.
Yeah. But what really happened with that first bank to fall there was that if you're going to be a successful bank, you need to have proper liquidity. And these banks that were basically propped up during the boom of big tech. So all of a sudden, you're a tiny little bank, and you grow in size 800%. You're 8 times the size what you used to be. And now, instead of being a $4 billion bank, you're a $30 billion bank, and then a $200 billion bank, all because big tech, you're located in Silicon Valley, and big tech starts putting more and more money into you. Now you want to make that money grow, but you want to be safe. You want to put it in something that's relatively safe. So they start investing in bonds. And the problem that they did is instead of investing in very short-term bonds, they invested in long-term bonds while interest rates were at their lowest point ever in history. So now they invest in 10-year bonds, saying for the next 10 years, we're locked in at 1.5%, which is basically saying I'm betting that no time in the next 10 years is it going to jack up much beyond that. And then certainly not in the next 5 years. So it's not going to jack up much beyond that. So what ends up happening is you end up basically when the interest rates start to climb because there's inflation, and they figure, hey, you know how we're going to slow down inflation? We start raising interest rates. That tends to really stop inflation a little bit. So now interest rates start to climb. As interest rates start to climb, and people are paying 2, 3, 4, 5, 6% in interest, when you're holding these bonds that are only making 1%, you feel like you're basically a freak. You're a loser. and your money is being wasted. And you're in such a negative position. So they said, we have to get rid of these bonds, but no one wants to take your bonds. No one, you can't sell
them.
They're
junk, because they're complete trash.
I mean, they're not complete trash. I mean, ultimately you get back your 26 billion. You got to wait 10 years for it. You pay. So in other words, like basically, let's say you spend 20 billion and you're supposed to get back 21 billion. But now it's like, you could basically take that same 20 billion and turn it into 30 billion in theory, if you want to just deal with, easy numbers. That's not how these numbers actually work out. So you're basically in a losing position. You're losing money. So you basically have to get out of that position. And when you sell it, now all of a sudden you're selling it at a loss. And they ended up buying so many billions of dollars of these long-term 1.5% bonds that they bought 80 billion in that, and then had to sell it off for like 60, 64.
Yeah, that's a massive haircut.
They lost 16 billion, and they lost 17 billion on the sale, and their equity was only 16 billion. So it's like people are like, wait, you don't own anything anymore. You just lost more money than you invested in here. Where's that money coming from? That's going to be coming from the investors. So everyone starts taking their money out, saying like, they don't have any money. So everyone starts yanking their money out, and that's you have a bank run. Everyone's trying to be like, I don't want to be the one stuck here. So everyone started yanking their money out of there, and the bank just collapsed overnight. That's essentially what happened. But it was all because it was very poor, and they didn't hedge their bet at all. For maybe a rise in interest rates, and that's basically why. So that's why.
So I'm going to ask you a question though, because here's more of a moral question, because this one, and once again, these are your wheelhouse here. I'm finance. I don't know. I get you so fired up on finance. By the way,
I'm a finance major in undergrad.
Really? Oh, okay. There you go. Fulfilling every single stereotype. Lawyer and finance major. Master Lions, welcome to the replay gang. I'm sorry it didn't pop up on StreamYard level, but welcome to the replay gang as a member, and thank you for gifting 10 membership. Cheers to you, and cheers to everybody who's gifted memberships. Really fucking nice. So what do you think? So there's actually a lawsuit going right now, a class action against all the YouTube influencers who shield like FTX. What do you think about that? Like, for example, I mean, some people know Graham Stephan, Andre Jick. These are like pretty big finance guys. What do you think about suing people who shield these products? And
morally or legally?
Let's go with legally first, and then morally, because I think legally may be a little bit more dicey.
So what I'll tell you is this: from a legal perspective, it all depends on whether or not crypto is looked at as being a commodity, as a what's the term that I'm looking for? A security or not.
Yes, that's very true. Whether it's a commodity or security, that's very true.
Right. So here's the key distinction, because the way the statute is written, if you're selling a security and you falsely advertise and you don't realize that it's false advertisement, you still are liable. And if it's not a security, you're not liable if you don't know about it. So when Tom Brady makes a commercial for FTX and saying, "Hey, FTX is the coolest thing in the world. Did you get it? Did I get it? Do you get it?" Or what's his face from Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry David, when he goes on a commercial and starts shilling it to encourage you to go buy it, if in fact it's a security and there's fraud that's going on that he doesn't know anything about, he's still liable. But if it's not a security, he's not liable, unless he knows about the fraud that's going on there. So, and that's gonna, I do think that it's very possible it will be looked at as a security, in which case they really can be liable for a fortune. They have basically they have exposure liability up the wazoo right now, based on how the court will ultimately determine on whether or not crypto is a security. You want to be banking tens of millions on that?
They've been ambiguous on that intentionally, right? They've intentionally been ambiguous on that,
right?
Because I think there's lots of reasons for that. I don't want to go down the crypto rabbit hole fully right now, but there's a whole. I mean, I think FTX definitely was part of it.
But if you're Larry David, you're praying it's not a security. You're praying that a court one day decides it's not a security, because otherwise he literally could lose his whole fortune over this. I mean, it's hard to imagine Tom Brady losing his entire fortune. That dude was making $40 million a year.
Yeah,
but
this is a good point, though. This is a damn good point. Dapper Dave says right here, bank executives are constantly allowed to take as much risk as they want, whether it be MBS, CDS, and there's no repercussions, always bailed out, all in the name of getting their bonus and commission. So here's the thing. When they were dealing with crypto, it had to be 100% collateralized. You know how much the banks have to be collateralized? Yeah, almost zero. In fact, I think right now it's. I mean, even some have like negative collateralization.
Bailouts are the most corrupt and evil thing imaginable, and I don't care if it's the banking industry, the auto industry, whatever word you want to put in front of it, whatever modifier you want to put on the word industry. Bailouts are corrupt. They are the exact
and the fact that the government is choosing which banks are big enough to qualify as systemically important and not, they make that distinction. That's a real distinction they still make to this day as to whether the bank is systemically important or not. And is it getting a bailout? This is
the worst. I mean, the bailouts they're basically stealing from you. They just don't tell you.
By the way, this is anti-capitalist. People are like, oh, this is the problem with capitalism. No, this is completely anti-capitalist.
Yeah.
It's completely anti-democratic.
Well, I mean, let's face it. Sometimes the economy is going to stink, and you have to learn to deal with it.
You got to feel the burn. You got to feel the burn. We've been, at least for the past, to me, Joe, for the past, I think 20 years at least, we've been kicking the can and not really feeling it. Like because we kept bailing ourselves out, we never let it you got to let it burn, and then you come back up from that, right? And by the way, that's what every other country has to do, because when they pump out dollars in the same volume, they wreck their currencies. They destroy their currencies.
Right.
Right. The only reason we don't is because the petrodollar. Without the petrodollar,
they say that might be changing.
And that's the problem, right?
What is the Chinese unit of currency?
Yuan. The yuan.
Yuan. Yeah.
If
that becomes the petrodollar, if it becomes the petro yuan,
I think it's going to be I think there's the collab, and this is something we forced ourselves into a position of fighting with Russia, who really isn't our natural enemy. Their natural enemy really should be China, because they're on a fucking border with them. But and then that'd be a real great ally for us to have. But no, we forced them together. I think the real issue could be a joint Chinese-Russian currency. Right. Oh my God. So a joint digital currency between those two, it's kind of game over at that point. And they're working towards that. They're building the infrastructure. They're building, the Belt and Road. They're building the pipelines. I'm over here in Asia. I see it. They're building the high-speed rail connections. They're connecting to the port in Myanmar to kind of cut out the Straits of Malacca. They're doing a lot of shit that folks aren't noticing, and we just let it go. Because we're too busy talking about pronouns. We're too busy with this shit. Have you seen? Let me show you this shit. Have you seen this shit with Lieutenant Governor Flanagan?
No.
Let me play this. This is a governor.
Who is she?
It's a governor. Lieutenant Governor. I think Massachusetts. I forget.
Lieutenant Governor. There's no audio. We don't hear the audio.
Oh, you don't hear the audio? Okay, no. Sorry. I'm boomering it once again. It's my time to pretend I'm one of those that's messing up our current politics. Let's get this here we go. All right,
because let's be clear, this is life affirming and life saving healthcare.
Trans surgeries.
When our children tell us who they are, it is our job as grown-ups to listen and to believe them.
What if they say they're a walrus?
That is literally.
That's what it means to be a good parent.
A good parent means making your child a walrus. If they say they're a walrus.
That's literally how everyone is responding. It's like, so my kid thinks he's a T-Rex. Like, another great one was, this is my favorite, was my kid thought he was Mike Tyson, so I punched him in the face.
That's good parenting right there. You're not Mike Tyson.
Yeah. Oh God. That's I mean, but that's where we want to go. They want to go to, hey, we're controlled by children, right?
Yeah.
They literally want our society controlled by both adult and actual children, right? Like
always under the penumbra of we're the moral ones. It's always under that false label of they're advocating for the most immoral, disgusting, awful thing in the world.
Dylan Mulvaney and people like Dylan Mulvaney are essentially adult children, right? Yeah. They're not on the same level as a fully functioning adult to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this. I wanted to be Barbie. Could I have gotten plastics as a child? You know,
Nice.
imagine that. You know, you want to get a rib removed. You know, to get your waist size down there. You know, yeah, let's let it happen, right?
That's being a good parent. That's what it just means being a good parent.
But is there going to be a backlash? Because I saw some people commenting on it. Oh, sorry. Let me get this one here. Britt says for $10 on Rumble, Joe, your argument while sounding good is false. By making some things illegal, we are not taking care of the weak. We put the weak in a system where they get a PhD in being a criminal.
So that argument is the same argument as saying we should allow abortions because people are going to go into back alleys and get abortions. That's essentially the same argument that you're hearing right there. You can, if you're assuming we're in a moral society,
if you're consistent on both arguments, I mean that's one thing, right? But you are right. You are right about that.
I mean, by that logic, you should never pass any laws because people will break laws. I mean, okay, fine. People will break laws. The idea is you want to try and stop people from doing it. You're saying some people will become masterminds at it. Okay, so by that logic, never have any laws because anyone can break the law that you're going to write tomorrow. That argument to me, it sounds nice, but if you actually think it through, I think that it doesn't really hold up because the idea is we're trying to create, trying to structure society. Will it manage to influence everyone the right way? No, but a few people, the majority of people, I think it would be beneficial for. So.
Yeah, I see that. Dapper Dave says, my definition of woke, pretending to fight injustices while you are actually creating the injustice yourself. Yes, yeah, I think that's the modern one. And that's why that's really the childish thing. It's you're creating a problem where there was no problem previously. Right? Like the problem doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So you're creating something for you to be mad about. That's I think why there's the backlash, because the things that they're saying are happening and exist in America, the problems they perceive don't really actually functionally exist. There's not this widespread LGBT, persecution that's going on in, rural Alabama or Mississippi or Georgia or whatever else, where people are rounded up and sent to camps. I mean, that's what they're making it sound like. And that's simply not what's happening. Same thing in Florida with the parental rights and education bill, where they think that if a teacher says gay in the classroom, they're going to be thrown out. No, of course not. Have you seen the new bill? I think it's House Bill 999 in Florida. It's about banning CRT.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
And that one's getting a lot of pushback right now. There were some university riots, but banning anything talking about critical race theory or espousing one race as superior to another.
How is this different from the parental rights thing? The parental rights bill?
I don't see. Other than I think it would expand beyond. I think it would expand beyond just very young kids, right? So the bill would prohibit universities from including diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI. It's either eliminated or restricted because it restricts any courses that are based on unproven theoretical or exploratory content.
Ooh, you see? I didn't even know about this.
Now they may have
I was
to
saying in my law school rankings, I would knock out anyone who has a DEI, Dean of Administration. So there you go.
There you go. Diversity, equity, inclusion. No, but I mean, there needs to be a bite back. I think the scope.
Hey, Ron DeSantis. Call me.
Yeah,
I got ideas for you.
And well, you may be moving to Florida, so you may be down
really
there hanging out with him soon.
I really might be.
He may be your governor.
I haven't told Lady Logic yet, but I think.
I think if she watches the show, she'll figure it out. Does Lady Logic watch the show? Did she ever go back and catch?
I think she kind of stopped. I think she she every once in a while I'm doing a show, she'll wander through here, but it's sort of like maybe I think once a week she catches the show now, but. Yeah, she's still on payroll. So
that's all that matters is that she's still on the payroll. She's still on the payroll. Galloway says, "Happy St. Patrick's Day, folks! It's past midnight in the British." Oh, it's St. Patty's Day.
Oh, is it?
Oh shit!
Oh my god! Happy St. Patty's Day.
I don't have any Guinness or harp here, but I had no clue. Cheers, guys! I remember, and I'm going to put out a shot for you guys here because this is a shot. Cheers for St. Patrick's Day. L'chaim to my Hebrew brother here.
God, oh my God! Day after St. Patty's is my wife's birthday.
So Joe, you know what's burned into my memory other than a couple interesting women experiences on St. Patrick's Day.
What's that?
I remember Orlando. 2020. We thought when everyone was freaking out in those liberal states, we thought, oh, that's going to be the libs. It's not going to come here. We're like, this is not going to come to Florida. We're not going to do this. We're too based. And I thought it too, actually mistakenly. I was like, we're too based. All the bars were ready. They had all their decorations up. They were all painted. They had it in the window. And then the lockdown hit. And Joe, their St. Patrick's decorations did not come down for like 8 months, almost a year. I was staring at every day St. Patrick's Day for Christmas.
Oh my
for
God.
Thanksgiving, for Halloween. It was St. Patrick's Day in downtown Orlando. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. St. Patrick's Day for me is a scary day because it's the day before Lady Logic's birthday.
Oh. Did you not get her a gift? I'm not going to say it really loud. It's because she won't hear me. Even though you're wearing headphones.
I'm not completely ready for this event.
You fucked up, didn't you?
I'm not 100% ready for this event.
Oh, you fucked up, didn't you?
I'm not 100% ready. I'm almost finished. Almost finished.
You get on that. As soon as you get off this, you stream. Yeah. You get off. You do the little thing. You get on there.
How am I gonna get delivery for tomorrow? I can't get delivery on Shabbos. That's not gonna work. Oh my God.
Wait, you can't receive. You can't. Hold on.
I won't be able to open it. I won't. I can get mailing that will come in, but
you can if the box is there, you can pick it
and
up
then open it up on
the after day. Be like, oh, I'm sorry, honey, it's Shabbos, so
God. Oh my God, I don't even know what.
We got same day over here. I can get stuff delivered within like a couple hours if I
really.
Yeah, really? Yeah. Korea's super fast. They're like that's the one thing that they're on.
Huh.
Yeah. There you go. Now you know. Castle Moyle book says my kid thought he was Superman, but I'm not the one that got in trouble.
But I'm the one. I'm the one that got in trouble.
Sorry, but I'm the one that got in trouble when I let him fly off our apartment building. Megan Fox was demonetized for a video on trans groomer Jeffrey Marsh. He tells kids he will be their parent. That is, I mean,
are you familiar with Jeffrey Marsh?
No, I'm not. But the kid stuff is where they cross a line, and I think that's where they're losing is whenever they go into the kid stuff. That's been too far. Yeah. Let's see. Got that one. Snuggle Struggle says, by the way, Count Dankula pointed out an American being persecuted. Doug Mackey posted memes for Trump in 2016. The DOJ are pushing 10 years imprisonment. Yeah, and I think he just lost one of his First Amendment arguments. Frankly, that's one I do need to look more into. I know people have been bringing that up, and it is a crazy case. And people obviously are trying to say, oh, he's a far right guy. He's a ultra MAGA. That's
crap. You and I are labeled,
but that's always crap. Yeah, exactly. That's why I didn't believe the story when I first learned a little bit about it. But I will look more into this. I will look more into Doug Mackey. And I'm happy to talk about that with Joe. In fact, we want to do a little deep dive in this next week. Yeah, I'm happy to talk about that.
We'll talk about Doug Mackey next week, God willing.
Yeah, reconvene on that one. Nimitz, do you niggas, knickers, want video of a DEI training at a multinational explicitly saying, we want everyone to feel welcome except those people. You know the ones. Wait, what?
Yes.
They
yes,
said that?
Link us up.
Please do.
Yeah. My Twitter is at the following pro. PRO. Please do. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
All right. We had two other here on Rumble. Britt says, Joe, once again, I think you missed the point. You can have laws that protect minors or those that are not fully developed. However, I believe adults should not be protected from themselves. If an adult wants to snort drain cleaner, I do not have a duty to stop them from being an idiot.
Okay. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I'm with you.
I agree.
Given the current context of our society, I think that if our society was more moral, I think we should be doing that. I can't imagine. When I say more moral, I'm saying Joe, but that's not where we're at. I said
if we're going to be degen, let's be consistently degen.
Right.
Let's just go. Let's go across the board all the way. Let's just do it straight up, and let's see how that works out. And then we'll from there we can say, okay, maybe we need some morality, right? Maybe we need some principles. Maybe that mattered. Maybe that made a difference.
Right. In
we
other
had
words,
that.
yeah. In other words, the recognizing the level that we're at changed me from from where I was 15 years ago. And where 15 years ago, I was fully endorsing a neocon perspective. I thought every war America went to was righteous and good. And now I look back and I think the last righteous war we went to was arguably World War II. So, I start reassessing everything until I get to a point where I can actually believe in the righteousness of the activities of our government, which we are so far away from being anywhere near there. I'm totally with you that the healthiest perspectives is a libertarian one, to make sure that our own government isn't taking advantage of us. But I was saying, in a better world, we could rely on those people to be passing laws that actually are intended to and applied in a direction that is designed to help its people rather than hurt itself. Allow the weak to hurt themselves. That's my point. You can disagree with me on that, but I'll tell you right now, our disagreement is not about a state of where we are at, because I'm with you as of today and for the foreseeable future, probably the balance of my life, that America is nowhere near that point, because I don't trust the people who are in power. And
I don't trust any of these people.
I don't see that changing ever. I can't even imagine the circumstances where that will change. So that's what I'm saying. It becomes an argument of semantics as to, well, what would be an ideal? Okay, I mean, I disagree with you on what would be ideal, but that doesn't matter, because I'm completely with you at today, and I foresee probably for the balance of my life that I'm never going to be in a place where I trust government to say that they're doing the right thing for good reasons, for genuinely altruistic purposes.
Got it. Perfect. And let's see what else we got here. We had some comments. Oh yeah, Deanna Mitchum says, "People, show some motherfucking love for Legal Mindset and Joe GoodLawgic." Yes, definitely make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you comment on the video if you like it or don't like it. Tell me how Joe is wrong. Right? We still need to do that one. I was going to go through everything I disagree with Joe on. That is a future episode. I need to there's so many things.
Can we do that? Can we put that down 2 weeks from now? You were like, this Joe is why you're wrong.
Yes. We'll do the why Joe is wrong, because I was going to do it, but there was a lot of other stuff going on, cases, trials, and stuff. But Joe's gone through so many bad takes, from his denialism of 9/11 to gravity to just basic legal principles. We're going to go in.
I'm looking forward to it.
That's
looking forward to it. That will
be
his
glorious. love for Jordan Peterson, his unabashed love for Jordan Peterson. Do you still have his poster up, behind the American flag is Jordan Peterson?
I actually, I have his face plastered over Rocky's body. He's standing over Clubber Lang and just sort of glaring down at him. So
by the way, I love this on Twitter. Somebody responded when I posted this video saying, my nephew, probably about 1/32 black, went from being white to being black as he grew up, because he figured out what got him the most at the time. Good show. No, it's right. You check that box and your LSAT score can drop 10-15 points as a man, just by ticking that box. Simply by ticking the box. They really can't do much research into it. You just tick the box and hey,
you just check off your black.
Yeah. I mean, why not? It's not going to hurt you at this point. So we all got to unite.
The next census is going to show that America all of a sudden has 280 million black people.
Yeah. It's well, why not? At some point, once again, it's when identifying as a trans black lesbian is the most protected class in America. Everyone's going to be a trans black lesbian if there's no barrier to being that, right?
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was a big question. So there's I think 3 male only universities and 3 female only universities in the United States still left.
Are there?
Yeah, but one of the male ones accepted trans dudes a while back, and now I believe one of the female the universities is mulling over accepting.
Yeshiva University is all male. Is that one of the 3?
No. I think because it's religious. Maybe they take out the religious ones.
Oh, okay. So I was going to say Stern College is for girls, and that's also religious girls.
Yeah, like Brian Moore. I think what is it? Is it Wellesley?
Wellesley?
Wellesley or West?
Wesley.
Yeah, that one.
Wesleyan.
So Wesleyan, maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
That's
but anyways,
that's one of your viewers said.
Yeah, opposing force, something close to that. But anyways, they're mulling over, letting it in. I am all for all of that, just accelerating and just saying, hey, let them in.
You were the one saying no women should be in the workforce, weren't you? Seriously, I'm not even joking. Like,
no, I did not. I did not say that, but I can make an argument for that. But I actually said that workplaces should be fully segregated. That's what I said.
You mean no more of the blacks?
No, men and women. That's what I said.
Okay, no, I was just trying to put you in like.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that's not clippable moment. You know,
okay.
Yeah, it's men and women, and I think that's not surprised. I think everybody's like, anybody who's watched me for a while is like, no, this is very true, and especially at this point with peak Me Too accusations, with just this tension with people saying, oh, well, men ain't shit. It's like, all right, well, go out there, form your own company. Good luck, right? You are allowed to get zero help from men, right? Good luck. Have fun with that. When you need to call tech support, you need to call a woman. We need to fix the toilet in the building. You need to call a woman, female plumber. Good luck with that. Right? Oh Good luck with that. That's a real quick way to
my answer is instead just like ban makeup in the workworkplace. Makeup in the workplace. I
think some people aren't wearing enough, Joe. I'm gonna put it out there. I have not been protected from the gargoyles that I've seen perched on some corporate offices. It's been bad. It's been bad. They need to take a trip here to Korea and fix some of the problems. I'll just say that. Let me see what else. Yeah, I think I got everybody there. So GoodLawgic, what are you going to be doing? What's your episode on today?
Tonight, I am going to be I'm going to be dipping my toe into sovereign citizens.
Ooh.
Yeah, watching a video of that. And I'm also going to be watching a movie about the most evil man of the last 80 years and how he's basically made your life hell. I'll share a picture if you want.
Okay, yeah. What's the picture of the most evil man? I know it's probably not who people think. They're probably like, oh, it's like somebody like Hitler or Stalin or...
No, it's the last 80 years.
Yeah, okay, 80 years.
Yeah, last 80 years. So this is the thumbnail. I haven't put this up yet, but I'm about to post this.
Hold on, let me just post this real quick.
See if you can figure it out. There you go. Do you know what that is?
Wait. Okay, before I say
not Soros.
No, it's not. No, who is it? It looks a little Sorosy.
No, he's not alive. This guy anymore.
He's not alive.
No, he's not alive. But his ideologies are so pervasive that when you hear what he says, you will understand everything wrong with our country today started with this guy's brain. It came out of this guy's mouth. Is
he a Rockefeller?
This guy, let's just give you an idea as to what his perspective on things are. He said that if you want to control the people, you need to control healthcare. You need to increase poverty. You need to increase debt. You need to you need to have gun control, remove guns from everyone. You need to have welfare, take control of every aspect of their lives, food, housing, income. You need to take control of the education system.
Chat got it. Chat got it.
There they go.
Chat got it. Chat's always got it. Saul Alinsky.
Yeah.
Good call there. Chat's always on it. Chat is
this guy. I mean, tell me he wasn't describing the United States, the left, everything he was saying there. Everything.
Well, I mean, there's predictions of the left. The thing is, people just thought it was ridiculous back in the day. Like, that'll never happen. I mean, you remember these conversations, and you remember the 80s, but even the 90s, I remember the conversations of things that we joked about that are now very much real. Like, all the things that we were joking about are real. The trans bathroom issue,
whoever would have thought. Sports, I'm telling you right now, as recently as 5 years ago, I remember seeing a video of this old man who thought that he was a 3-year-old girl. And there was videos of him with his pigtails and sitting and playing with dolls and wearing like this mini skirt that was whatever. And it was like, and it was just like, and everyone laughed at that as recently as 5 years ago. And now, like, if he did that, people would be like, wow, you're so stunning. You're so brave. And the Overton window is not just shifting. He used to go slowly.
By the way, that guy, Saul Alinsky, he looks like the villain from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
He does, right?
He really does. He's really spot on there.
He does. Yeah, that's a good call. Anyway.
Anyways, Yeah, but
Yeah.
Joe, thank you for joining me, man. I'm going to cut it here. Locals, I'm going to go over and do a quick locals exclusive for you guys, just very quick, maybe like 15 minutes or so. But guys, make sure you're checking out Joe's. His show starts in about 30 minutes, so I'll try to wrap up with my locals when you can about pop on and start. But guys, thank you so much. As always, love being on with Good Logic. Take care.